I'm no scientist, nor am I a janitor, but this has to be the least efficient way to clean blood off the ground. Ibiki may be an impeccable interrogator, but he's garbage at cleaning.
Whoa, Choji. Glad I'm not you. I mean, you still got the toughest ones left.
Gee, Shikamaru, that was very helpful. I'm sure Choji is feeling real pumped up right now. I'm sure most of you noticed Lee is shooting daggers at Neji right now, but something you may have missed is Naruto standing in his lonesome off in the background. You can tell by his stature that he's troubled emotionally and wants to be nowhere near Neji. From this angle, Gaara doesn't even look human. He has 2 nostrils for a nose and no eyebrows. I love how you can tell shit's about to go down in this episode just from seeing the animation quality. These subtle nuances are things I didn't pick up on as a kid, but I'm glad I'm able to now.
Uh-oh. I've seen that look before.
I can sense his bloodlust.
That last fight, I wonder, did it stir up his inner demon?
This is something I never hear people talk about. Rock Lee wasn't up against base Gaara. He was up against a bloodlusted Gaara. You could argue that Gaara is always bloodlusted, which I do agree with to a certain extent, but I think this scenario is different. Otherwise, there'd be no point in including Gaara's bloodlust growing. Check out my man Shino here. Both his teammates got folded. Meanwhile, he's vibing with his drip.
Hey, you! How come you're all by yourself? Why aren't you hanging with your buddies?
Huh? What's it to you?
Well, touchy.
In case you don't remember, the reason why Naruto immediately gave Kankurō attitude is because when Kankurō first arrived in Konoha, he not only bullied Konohamaru, but he also tripped Naruto, made a complete fool out of him.
You know, you seem like a nice guy. I like you.
Well, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't like you!
I don't know if this makes me immature, but I still find this kind of humor funny.
This kid is toast.
Like I showed a few moments ago, Naruto was extremely outclassed in their first encounter. However, things may be different now. If Naruto fought Kankurō in the finals instead of Neji, who do you guys think would win? Let me know down in the comments. I'm surprised that one cough got Sakura and Kakashi's attention considering Hayate has been coughing since he first arrived. That one cough doesn't sound any different than his other coughs either.
Alright! This time you'll be picked, I just know it! You ready, Lee?
No!
Huh?
I like how Lee's response shocks Kakashi and Sakura as well. Only Guy verbally responds, but it wouldn't be in character for Sakura and Kakashi not to be confused by Lee's sudden change of character. It's also fitting that Neji didn't budge at all, although his headband appears to be off center in this shot considering he's facing forward. Does Gaara have some sort of precognition that I don't know about? It wasn't certain that he was up next, yet he body flicked into the ring anyway. He also thinks this.
Oh, come on. Let's do this.
Depending on how you interpret that, he's either certain he's next or he's hoping. My opinion, he's confident that he's on deck.
Look, you see that gourd that Gaara is wearing? Watch out, there's something weird about it.
Good advice, sir.
Don't write it down! What are you thinking? After all, you're not gonna have time to read any notes during the match, are you?
Ah, more good advice.
Seriously, man, how could you not love these two? They bounce off of each other so well. You don't even need any additional comedic relief when Guy and Lee are on the scene.
I don't know what kind of moves that guy with the dumb haircut has got, but he'll never take Gaara down. Not in this lifetime.
He's fast on his feet all right, but his kick isn't that great.
Wrong!
Props to Naruto for defending Rock Lee's combat ability. I also like how Naruto said wrong right after Temari finished her thought. It comes off of as Naruto heard her talking crap and is telling her she's wrong as well. Also, I'm gonna play that back. Look at Kankuro's mouth.
Wrong!
What?
The pixels over Kankuro's mouth shifted slightly as if his mouth opened, but his jaw didn't move an inch, so I'm gonna call cap on that one. He didn't say anything. Why did Gaara not get penalized for shooting his cork at Lee's face? The match hasn't started yet, and that's 100% an attack. This match is rigged in Gaara's favor, I'm telling you.
Begin.
I understand Lee is a Taijutsu specialist, but this was extremely reckless. As a Flash fan, I'm normally in favor of the Speed Blitz no Jutsu. However, Lee knows literally nothing about Gaara except that his gourd does a thing. He should have at least thrown a kunai to gather some intel on Gaara first. If Gaara was on demon time at the start of the fight, Lee would have lost right here. The reason for that is Gaara has intel on Lee. He knows Lee at the very least resorts to Taijutsu. He literally saw Lee use his Leaf Hurricane on Temari, and for some reason Lee decides to pop off with the exact same attack. Gaara could have easily caught Lee's leg with his sand and crushed it. I'm glad that didn't happen though, because that would have been extremely anticlimactic. Honestly, I could rewatch this clip over and over and over again. This is my favorite fight of the Chunin exams. I know, groundbreaking reveal. The animation obviously plays a huge part in it, but so does the choreography. Now, I'm no power scaler, but I really enjoy dissecting these scenes and deciphering how the character's abilities work. Such as Gaara's sand. His base sand is nowhere near as durable as his sand armor and sand barrier. Lee's attacks are causing the sand to disperse fairly easily. However, the sand is also absorbing all of Lee's momentum, so he can't follow through with his attacks. Lee even whips out a kunai and starts slicing through the sand like butter. I'm honestly not sure why Lee didn't continue to use his kunai to defend and attack with. He was very effective at dispersing the sand. Concussive blows are at a disadvantage against Gaara's sand, so I'm not sure why Lee ditched the kunai. Never mind. The kunai fades into the comedy dimension, so that's why he stopped using it.
We haven't had enough blood.
Bad guy throws hero across the room instead of killing him cliche. Oh shit, wrong channel.
I don't get it. He's only using taijutsu. Can't he see that's never going to work? Why doesn't he get some distance and use ninjutsu?
Sakura doesn't have any room to talk. I know Lee is 1 year her senior, but she's seen a majority of the getting fight, so she should know none of them have ranged ninjutsu that would actually be effective here. A minor detail, but I love how you see Guy's concerned when Lee gets stripped. I think that's why Guy gave Lee permission to take off his weights. He knew that if Lee continued to hold back, he was a goner. What the bleed nail is going on with Choji's face here? Man looks like he saw someone throw away a bag with his favorite potato chips.
But Guy-sensei, you said that was only as a last resort when the lives of very important people were at stake.
Like when you were trying to protect Sakura from Team Dosu, right? I mean, you even said this.
Sakura, I already told you. Huh? I will protect you until I die.
Taking his weights off instead of using wood style would have been much more clutch here.
Come on, you really think you'll be able to get through Gaara's defenses just by dropping a couple of pounds of weight?
Man, I love me some speed demons. I don't know why I love the concept of speed so much. It's just extremely satisfying to me, I don't know. For those who weren't aware, this is the punch that was referenced in Sasuke's fight versus Gaara.
I could see that Lee had no aptitude for ninjutsu or genjutsu, so he skipped them and focused all of his time and energy into developing his taijutsu.
Neji doesn't use ninjutsu or genjutsu either, so having Neji do similar training to Lee would have been the best move. Neji already has insane reaction speed. Imagine if he had relative combat speed to Lee on top of that. Don't get me wrong, this was a cool kick, but he looks kinda awkward to me. Considering Gaara is bleeding, he isn't using his sand armor yet, which means if Neji took Gaara as a serious opponent, which he clearly does, Neji would blitz him and use 8 Trigem 64 pounds, which Gaara has no counters for. I know I'm betting a dead horse at this point, but the Neji disrespect has to stop. Neji solos.
Yes, Lee! Let the power of youth explode! Right!
Hell yeah, brother! We could all use the power of youth in our lives.
Direct hit.
I like how Neji is smirking in the background, but this directly contradicts his whole destiny ideology. Back in the day, Neji tells Lee that no matter how hard he works, he'll never be able to beat him. Now that's not very contradictory at this point. However, he says this to Naruto.
And second, once a failure, always a failure. You can't change that.
But Lee literally changed that. Neji's philosophy isn't as concrete as he leads on. He flip-flops between acknowledging change and berating people for being destined failures. Be honest, this is a face you'd like to wake up to. Also, I think every good anime fight needs to have layers like this. There needs to be a perfect ping pong match between the antagonist and the protagonist. There's a certain finesse to it though. You can't just have unbelievable power clipping because that doesn't make the fight interesting. We went into this fight knowing Lee is powerful because he was able to body Sasuke. He may have lost to Team Dosu, but that is only because he was in a 1v2 scenario and lost due to Dosu's unique sound jutsu. We also know Gaara is insanely powerful because he's been getting hyped up since the start of this arc. We also saw him completely obliterate Team Shigure. This fight obviously starts off in Gaara's favor, although as I mentioned earlier, Gaara shooting his quirk at Lee is an attack. So really, Gaara served the ball to Lee and Lee immediately hit it back. Now Gaara is higher on the totem pole. Lee struggles to match Gaara and eventually powers up. Gaara can't match Lee, so then Gaara powers up. That cycle continues for the rest of the match. If Gaara and Lee had both gone all out from the very beginning, it wouldn't have been nearly as satisfying. Also, for those who talk crap on Dragon Ball Z, Gaara literally watched Lee power up, then he got clapped.
Ordinarily, those shifting clouds of sand are enough to shield him. But in the event the shield is penetrated, Gaara can also wear the sand like armor, as a last line of defense.
This exposition doesn't make any sense. At least from a narrative perspective it doesn't. All the hype up until now was that Gaara hasn't been hit due to his sand shield. Kankurō even said this earlier in the episode.
It'll come to Gaara's defense without his doing anything. That's why Gaara's never been injured. No one can get at him. No one's ever even been able to touch him.
Gaara only activated his sand armor after Lee kicked him in the head. So if Gaara has never been hit until this point, how would Kankurō have even seen the sand armor being used? Unless Kankurō is a high level sensory ninja that is capable of detecting the change in Gaara's chakra, there's no way he'd be able to know how much chakra Gaara is consuming after he activated an ability that has no visual cue. In conclusion, no.
Get ready!
Wow! What an interesting attack! I've never seen this before!
Okay, you asked for it!
He's not floating!
These extra kicks weren't originally part of the plan. Gaara's sand is weighing him down so much that Lee's initial kick wasn't strong enough to send him flying high enough into the sky. It's the minor additions like this that count the most. The audience doesn't know exactly what happened, but now we have some information to keep us on our toes.
Now take this! Primary loaded!
Now, this is the proper time to use the repetitive playback. It added way more to the scene and made the reactions of the crowd hit much harder. Guy gets a pass because his eyes were closed. The Genin are Genin, so they get their pass as well. But Baki and Hayate are Jonin, yet they couldn't even see Gaara's substitution. That's an F- for me, Chief. Well, ladies and gents, this is the end of episode 48. I went over a lot in this episode and I don't want to hold y'all for too much longer, so as usual, thanks for watching all the way to the end, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Deuces.
Ninja art and a video jutsu.